This first room was always kind of a sitting room. The second room is the dining room. Then you sort of went through a side passage to a kitchen, bathroom. And then there was a room down at the back that was on the garden level that was just kind of completely deteriorating. Like all the walls were moldy and like falling to bits. Jay's kind of interesting. He is an artist. He has 4 children that he co-parents. So an interesting part of the brief was that the space needed to be comfortable and intimate when Jay's here on his own for like half the week. But then for the other half of the week, there's 4 kids that are staying with him. But he didn't want a 4-bedroom house. He didn't want a large house. So we had to accommodate all of these kind of flexible spaces for kids to sleep. We removed all of the internal layout that had occurred between the 2 sort of side brick walls. So that's almost like a single room that the family lives in. You kind of go through these procession of rooms and you can kind of close them off with flexible curtains and sliding panels. The front sitting room is a sitting room, but you can kind of close this off and it becomes a bedroom for one of the kids. And then from the dining room, you kind of move into a flexible office art studio for Jay. The idea for this bed is that it's a high workbench if he's doing pottery and stuff. So this kind of just folds down, but when it's not in use as an art bench, it folds back up and another kid can sleep here. Jay's called it the coffin bed because the top comes down. Another kind of big part of the brief was that Jay really wanted a bath, but in a tiny 3.4 metre wide Victorian terrace. So we had to get a little bit creative and put a bath in the middle of the house, essentially. And Jay really liked the idea that he's kind of having a bath in the middle of the house and it's all open and sort of not locked into a kind of enclosed small space. However, if you wanted to have a bath and the kind of kids are all here, if they wanted to have a bath, you can close off these panels. So you can close down the bath as its own separate room. We didn't want to demolish too much and we didn't want to build too much extra footprint. So these side walls are existing. The room that was here before was down on the garden level, so about kind of almost a metre lower than where we are here. And that was causing a lot of the damp issues because there was a concrete slab that wasn't insulated. So we raised the floor to create like this subfloor space so you can really ventilate the whole space. The existing walls, we added volume by essentially popping this lid on the top. So it's a polycarbonate material, which is like a recycled dense multi-layered plastic essentially. So the ceiling has 3 layers in it with an air gap between each layer, and it's actually got insulation, like it's a translucent see-through insulation in there just to kind of provide protection from the heat. And then we wrapped that kind of down the side walls as well to kind of bounce light around the space and kind of create filtered light throughout the entire day, even on a cloudy day. Like the light quality is still really nice. There's a big stormwater absorption pit underneath there, so we couldn't really put a slab of concrete or like pave it. You can like unscrew 4 screws and get to that pit if you ever need to. It's a recycled fiberglass plastic essentially. They use different versions of it on like bushwalks because it can last a really long time and it requires no maintenance. So there was an old stair. I mean, this is still a pretty steep stair. It's at maximum compliant tread heights and things. But the previous stair was very much like a steep cliff. And then you went into that bedroom, which has just kind of had a renovation, I guess. New French doors, big skylight that we popped in, and new floor, new joinery. Second bathroom for the family. And then again, just kind of borrowing northern light where we can by just having like a little internal window. You are technically crossing a bridge over the roof below, and then you kind of descend into kind of the loft room, and then all of these panels can close down. There's no hiding away from waking up with the sun. A very bright bedroom. We did early in the piece design almost like a mosquito net over the bed, but it was like a block-out curtain, and then that was attached to a skylight. But as soon as the kind of polycarbonate went on, Jay didn't really want to mess with the ceiling and the kind of the crisp line. He's super open to, kind of testing the way of living, I guess, and what a house needs to be. We didn't realise this until like the end of the project a few weeks ago, but Jay hadn't shown any friends or family a plan, a drawing, a photo through construction, like not a single anything, didn't tell them what the hell like he was building. And then he brought the kids like a few weeks ago to show them for the first time. I think they thought that they were like kind of opening the door into a renovated version of what was here before. But Jay caught me and was just like, they were squealing because they just walked into the sort of strangest thing that they thought was so cool. Working with such a creative client was awesome. Jay was like so trusting of your kind of design opinion and trusting of the process as well. Could easily interpret ideas, drawings, diagrams, conversations during construction. So it was just like the most amazing experience.